And we're back again, staying on schedule. I'm proud of us. How many weeks have we stayed on schedule? It's been like multiple weeks.
It has been. I'm proud of us, too.
Multiple weeks.
We just got to keep on keeping on. And it has to be this way because I am like, I have to know what happens. You know, having to wait, like, I'm not used to that anymore.
Right.
I'm used to being able to binge anything I want.
So now you know what we felt when we were watching this show as it came out weekly.
I don't miss that.
I got to know.
Anybody who is not a millennial listening to this, you just don't even know how hard it was back in the day.
You don't know the struggle.
Yeah.
But I'm Justin.
I'm Jessi.
And we are the Podcasting Dead, a podcast about, well, you guessed it, the Walking Dead.
Oh.
Almost said Game of Thrones because I've been watching Game of Thrones.
You guessed it. It's the podcast about Game of Thrones.
Which I did say once we finish the retro reviews and Jessi's all caught up, I would like for us to do a Game of Thrones retro review because that's another show that is phenomenal and I think you would love it. But so on this episode, we will be going back and talking about Season 3, Episode 7. It's called When the Dead Come Knocking. And it first premiered November 25th of 2012. It was directed by Dan Sackheim. Okay.
Sackheim, I barely know him.
And written by Frank Renzulli. I'm sure I said those both wrong, but you know what? I tried, and that's what counts. Before we start, just a quick shout-out to our affiliate, moviepalette.com. Go to the link below. It's in the description of the podcast. You can click the link, and if you use the code podcast15, you will get 15% off. And if you are a movie buff, you have no excuse not to have a couple of pieces of Movie Palette art hanging at your house. Go check out the site. Type in your favorite movie. It's so cool. And I swear on my life, when I get back from my little mini vacation this week, I will do a full video on Movie Palette.
I will hold you to that, Justin.
But even when Matt and I do the live reviews of the new episodes, I'm showing the artwork and promoting them. So hopefully they're happy.
Maybe it's all the same people anyway.
Maybe. But anyways, as we get in this episode, Michonne has made her way into the prison. Jessi, I don't know about you, but when I watched this episode back in the day, I was appalled by the way my boy Rick was treating Michonne.
I was too, but at the same time, like, you really can't trust anybody. And the fact that he just went through all of that stuff with Lori dying, and it was basically because he didn't kill that one dude. Like, he's just, you know.
I'm so glad you get it, because that's true. And that's going to affect Rick a lot. Yeah. I'm going to tell you that. That might be slight spoilers, but that is going to affect Rick a lot, because as human beings, we learn from experience, and that shapes who we become. And Rick, like you said, did not make sure that Andrew, a.k.a. Dollar General Kevin Hart, great value Kevin Hart, was dead. Yeah. And as a result, they lost two very fine people. Yep. Well, one was really fine, talking about T-Dog. He was a man. And then Lori, she was like, she was okay up until the finale of last season. But, so, you know, you're right. I did not like the way Rick treated her, but you're exactly right.
Yeah.
He took it easy in a sense. He kind of took it easy, didn't chase him down and hack him up, basically.
He didn't have to grab her hurt leg the way he did. But
especially when she shows up with formula you need for your new baby.
But also, she tried to grab her katana, which you can't fault any of them for these actions at all. So the fact that she tried to grab her katana, like, Rick kicked it away. I mean, she's already trying to grab that. So, like, I guess he's being smart about it.
Not starting off on a good foot.
No, but I think that they're definitely gonna figure each other out. I think they're gonna like each other in the end.
I hope they do.
They're gonna be BFFs.
BFFs. They're gonna, like, skip along the prison walls.
Yes.
Let's go for a perimeter check.
The prison brick wall.
Holding hands and shit. But no, and so we get a very, very distressing scene. Well, we get two distressing scenes when we go back to Woodbury, and that is Merle beating the hell out of Glenn, which I don't know about you, but when I watched that, I legit wanted to fight Merle. I'm like, don't touch my boy Glenn like that.
100%. And I just said it in the last episode. I can't imagine anyone wanting to be mean to Glenn and Maggie, and here we are.
Somebody's being mean to him.
And of course, the freaking governor, I swear, he's so cringy.
Oh, yeah. He's and so All right, I'm going to give you some kind of, again, I've said it 1,000 times, and I'm going to say it again. If you hadn't read the comics, you don't want spoilers, you might want to tune away, but at the same time, the comics have been out for like 1,000 years, so that's shame on you for not reading them up to this point. But let me tell you how it went in the comics.
Please tell me.
It was way different. What you got with the governor making making Maggie take her shirt off, like that was super mild.
Tame.
Maggie got off very easy. So in the comics, it was Michonne who got captured. The governor did not make her take off her shirt. No, he had relations with her against her will. And I'm not talking like once. I'm talking for like days on end.
Shut up. He kept her as like a sex slave?
Oh, had her chained up, like both arms stretched out, and did it for days on end and beat her. Yeah, Michonne, and beat her and everything.
Please tell me she got revenge.
Okay, so this doesn't spoil the show because obviously Michonne's not in Maggie's place, so you know it's. So yes, I will go ahead and spoil the comics for you. Oh yeah, my girl Michonne got revenge, and let me tell you how detailed the comics were. Oh. So Michonne snuck back in. The end result was the governor was missing an arm and a leg.
And a penis.
He had his genitals cut off.
Yes!
He also had a spoon scoop his butthole out. She had him bent over, took a spoon, put it up his butt, and scooped out. I don't know how you scoop rectum out, but she did.
I need to see the visuals in this comic.
I have it right there behind you. I will show you.
When we're done here, we're gonna...
She scoops his butthole out, then takes that same spoon and rips one of his eyes out with it. Now, granted, I imagine if that eye was still there, he would have a nasty case of pink eye.
Did he live?
Oh, yeah, he lived.
Shut up.
But he was like an armless... Didn't she cut... Maybe she didn't cut off his leg. Maybe I'm wrong on the leg thing. It's been a long time since I've read.
It's okay. The butthole part.
But she did cut off an arm, and she did cut off genitalia, and she did scoop out his butthole, and she was going to kill him. She was just making it very slow, but then something happened, and she had to like escape real quick. Is what saved his life.
Holy
Oh, yeah. So in the comics, Michonne gets her revenge. Let me tell you, like tenfold.
Of course she does.
I can't say tenfold. I don't know. I don't know. But it was...
Yeah, how can you rate that?
Like how do you really rate what she went through versus what he went through?
Yeah, that's true. No amount of revenge is enough for what he did to her.
Oh, and it was bad. Like beat her, and it was brutal. And I remember nostalgic when they got captured, people were so worried that Maggie was going to go through that.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my. And then in the show, what he did to her was so tame. Like he just made her. I'm not saying that's okay or downplaying sexual intimidation by any means, but I'm saying like compared to comic Michonne, Maggie got off very easy.
Yeah. Either way is traumatizing, but at least Maggie didn't get like physically hurt.
Right. And so, in the comics, it was way worse. But, he makes her take off her shirt. And this was the episode where Merle throws a zombie in there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Glenn.
God. Were you not on the edge of your seat the whole time? I was.
I knew Glenn was going to come out of that. I knew it. I just knew it in my gut.
Glenn went savage, like breaking the chair. And like Glenn... Because I think I don't know, but I think from like a writing perspective, up to this point, we know Glenn can somewhat carry his weight, but at the end of the day, he's kind of like a moral compass, good guy character that just is pure. Like Glenn really is pure in all of this.
Right.
And I think this was the writer's way of showing like Glenn can get savage if he needs to. Because, like, you think about it, don't get much more savage than being taped to a chair.
Hell no.
Being locked up with a walker and having to, like, brutally... he had to use, like, arm bones and stuff. It was gnarly.
He's so smart.
He is.
So smart.
He is. And that's why Glenn is a favorite. I'll say Glenn is in my tops. Like, it don't get much higher than Glenn. Michonne, Rick, and Glenn are probably, like, right... And there's a character later... He's really not that good in the show, not because of the actor. The actor did a wonderful job. They just don't utilize him much. Yeah. But there's a character that's named Jesus later in the show that I love just because he's my favorite comic character. But, Glenn's up there. It's like Glenn's the man.
Yeah, he is.
He's just so pure.
I wonder why they decided to leave Maggie with him, though. Were they done?
With Glenn?
Yeah.
Oh, because, this... Not, maybe it happens, maybe it don't. But, the governor's thought is we're just going to kill him later anyways. Who gives a shit?
Oh, okay.
Because the governor's psycho. Like,
That's
see,
true,
like, Michonne, literally, her only crime was trying to leave. right? One could argue like, oh, well, she knew too much. Okay, but she was leaving. Like, the only threat of Michonne knowing too much is her telling people inside of Woodbury. And Michonne was like out. She's like, I've had enough. And she's leaving. And they still sent people to kill her just for having the audacity to leave.
Those fuckers.
So, the governor don't let nobody go. Mm-mm. The governor is not going to let anybody go. Full psycho.
Full on.
And how about Milton's little experiment? Like, Milton reminds me of the kid who was never a scientist, but now that the world's ended and we can kind of be who we want to be, he's like, I want to be a scientist.
Oh, yeah. He would have he would have done got dead if it weren't for Andrea.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Andrea's, that kind of harkens back to, like, the Herschel thing of, like, thinking there's an original part of them left and all of this, and Andrea's seen it. She's like, no, I'm telling. Probably one of Andrea's smartest scenes in the entire show is she's like, I'm telling you, no.
But also she likes to be a know-it-all, and this time she actually did know more than him, and I'm sure she was, like, soaking it up.
Side note, did that Snapchat I sent you earlier crack you up?
I didn't watch it yet. I didn't watch it yet.
Jessi. Did you save it at least?
It's in the chats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember when I used to call you Jessi?
I don't know, but
I used to call you Jessi.
I work with a Mexican dude, and he calls me Jessica.
Well, I used to call you Jessi when, like, we would drink at my apartment and shit, and I was like, that's the redneck version of your name, Jessi.
Yeah, sure.
But no, that Snapchat. So in a nutshell, what it says is it's a dude watching The Walking Dead at the end of season 2, and it's so funny because he's like, okay, hold up. Your husband just told you this dude who you was having an affair with took him into the woods and tried to kill him. So he killed him, and now you want to walk away and shit and be like, and then, like, as he's talking, it flashes to Andrea, and he's like, oh, fuck, it's Andrea. He was like, you're the worst character, second only to Andrea.
Yeah.
And then Andrea pops up, and he's like, oh, my God, I know you don't, but would you just die already? I was like, this guy is speaking our language.
I can't believe I don't remember why I didn't watch it. I think I didn't have service wherever I was, and then I forgot, but it is still there because I went back to check.
You got to watch it tonight. Yeah. It's funny, man. It cracked me up. I was like, Jessi will appreciate this because this dude's narrating.
That sounds like me.
It would be like you narrating exactly what this guy says. But no, they do the little experiment, and I like how he's doing like the whoa.
I know. I was really confused about that.
What is that doing?
I guess because it's just like a thing that he does over and over again to put it in his brain, so that way it would be something that the zombie would remember if he was going to remember anything.
That's a good way to look at it. I do think, interestingly, like veering off only slightly here for a second. So I have, a lot of TikToks. Like, I like a lot of like meditational, cool stuff. And like they talk about how frequencies, because I think everything is frequencies. I think we're on a frequency. This dimension's on a frequency.
Agreed.
Just like a radio, you can turn it to a different frequency and boom, it's like another dimension.
Yep.
But, like doing the little around the dish thing, I have totally found some like frequencies where they're like, listen to this and it will relax you, it will clear your head. Maybe it's a placebo only because the lady with the nice voice on TikTok said it would, but like it does legit.
I think it helps. I do believe in it 100%.
Yeah. See, and I'm very straightforward, but I mean, like, frequencies are very basic. We have ears. Our ears pick up vibrations. The vibrations, in turn, send signals to our brain. So why does it not stand to reason that certain vibrations or certain frequencies couldn't send soothing, calming?
And this is coming from a scientific brain. You like things that can be proven.
Exactly.
And the fact that you're like on board with this.
It makes sense. Right. I mean, whether you look at it spiritually or scientifically, both can agree.
Yeah.
Like frequencies can totally calm you. They can. But anyways, so him doing that is what made me think about it.
Oh, yeah. And I originally, before I knew what was going on, I thought that he was figuring out a frequency to make them docile.
Right. Like to maybe calm the zombie down.
But I was wrong.
Totally wrong.
Totally wrong. Because that man was not dead yet.
Thank goodness for Andrea, which was interesting because the governor's all about thank you for your sacrifice. Because, he comes into like the old man is like, thank you for what you're doing, whatever. And then, it's just like, I mean, I don't know. The whole thing was weird. And then Andrea's like, in a nutshell, Andrea's like, dude, I'm telling you, like, he's going to come back and try to eat you.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing of him left.
I can't believe how dumb Milton is.
It was kind of sad, though, in a kind of a depressing note. Like, I think that would be the coolest way to go, though. Like, to be old in a bed with, like, your favorite song, whether it's something from the 20s, which is clearly where that sounded like it was coming from. You know what I mean? But, like, just smooth music playing, whatever makes you happy, and just restful sleep. But then he dies, and he comes back a violent, man-eating zombie.
I'm surprised that Andrea knew how to work a record player.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And, you know, what did you think about, like, Merle? Like, Merle has not let that left him to die thing go. Like, when he's talking to Glenn, like, y'all left me to die.
I think he forgets that, like, they had a reason.
Like, do you not remember you were being a total dick?
Right.
It's not like, oh, you were there and we picked on you. Like, you've got to know now, especially Merle seems sober now. You know, Merle seems like he's not on anything. I don't think the governor would let him be on any drugs. And it's like, did you forget you were being a dick? Like, you were being a racist and you beat up everybody except for Rick.
I think Merle might be a little bit of a narcissist.
Merle's got a lot of issues. But what's so interesting is I'm so excited for you to see his story. Because, like, right now it's like, F Merle. Like, Merle's a douche, man. F him. But he definitely will... I'm not going to say necessarily redeem himself, but he has an interesting story arc. Okay. You know, he's got a cool story arc. It's not as black and white as it seems. It's definitely going to take some twists and turns.
Yeah, I mean, I expected that. Him and Daryl both, but clearly Daryl's handling their life experiences better than he is.
Well, Daryl is... Apparently people are moving furniture upstairs.
Look, you know, you got to keep it interesting.
So do you think Merle and Daryl are going to reunite?
Yes, and I'm excited to see what happens because I really don't think it's going to be a good thing.
In what way?
Because I think Daryl has become more of a good guy and like kind of like a team player, and he's like grown to like these people. They're like his family now. And Merle clearly is like treating his family, his group, terrible, like Maggie and Glenn. And I don't think that Daryl is going to be on board with what Merle has done.
So, interestingly, talking about Daryl and his character progression, this doesn't spoil anything. I'm not going to say how far ahead or how close it is, but there's something Daryl does that results in someone's death.
Oh, shit. I mean, what else is new?
And
it's like everybody on the show has...
Right. You're like, do I want toast or eggs this morning? Toast. As a result, somebody dies.
Exactly.
Like, no! But his actions result in someone dying.
Okay.
And that someone means something to someone else. And there is a scene that, like, when it happened in the show, and I've seen it 1,000 times, and it didn't really hit me. And then, like, somebody put it on TikTok, and I don't know why when I watched it, like, Norman Reedus' acting and, like, the way they do it is so good. The way he just won't look at this person. And they're like, look at me. Like, you haven't looked at me since blah, 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 blah. And when he does, like, he's crying, and he's just like, I'm sorry. And it's just, God, Daryl has such a good arc. I mean, there's certainly points in the show where I'm like, all right, man, stop making Daryl John Wick. Like, let's. But Daryl definitely is. Oh, he's awesome. Daryl is great. Yeah. But do you think that Merle could get him to convert back to his old ways?
No,
not at this point.
I don't think so. I really don't. I think that Daryl. I think he had a soft spot all along. He really probably wasn't even allowed to show it or was even aware of it until now because of his family situation and Merle being, on his ass about everything probably growing up. Like, he probably just wasn't allowed to have that side of him. And now he is, and he's appreciated. And, so I don't know. I don't think he could because even if he tried, obviously, we know this side of things is way better than being like a douchebag.
Well, and I think, too, Daryl's one of those, like, he comes from a broken home and, like, nothing was okay at home. And I think that, like, Daryl's never had a sense of family other than maybe Merle.
Exactly.
And so now that he's got it, like this is family to him.
Right.
Like Rick and Carl and that whole group, that's his family.
And they don't treat him like shit. Like how he probably was treated by Merle and anyone else that was around. So, yeah.
Well, it's like going back to season 2, Chupacabra, where like that's the name of the episode, where he was trying to crawl up the hill and like he was seeing Merle, and I like how Merle is like, well, you Rick's little bitch now, and he's like, I'm nobody, I'm nobody's bitch, and he's like, Rick's done all right by me, because like Rick has never, freaking Lori did. She's like, can you run to town and grab Rick, blah 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 blah, but like Rick doesn't treat Daryl like he's a lackey. I mean, he respects Daryl, and he talks to him like a normal person.
Like
I think Daryl appreciates
equal.
that, right? Like you're my boy, and then especially after all the stuff with Tomas and all of that, like he knows Daryl's got his back.
Right,
that's his boy.
And Daryl took care of his baby. Well, his wife's baby.
Daryl's got a soft spot, like I say. Well, and I mean, Merle said that at one point where he's like, he's always been a softie, my little brother. And it's like Daryl definitely has a soft spot. I think that it's just when you grow up in the environment that Daryl grew up in, you have to be hard or get your ass kicked. Yeah. And that's basically it. But now he's around a group of people that it's like they're not constantly challenging his manhood or whatnot. And I remember at this point in the show, so filling you in on things that were trending back then. So everybody was speculating Daryl's gay. And it's like, why? And it's like, because he don't have a love interest. And it's like, well, maybe his character just doesn't need a love interest. Like not everybody has to have a love interest.
That's true, but also he's in love with Carol, I'm convinced.
Well, and if he is gay, okay. So like Jesus in the comics, what I loved about Jesus as far as good writing is if you're going to make a character gay, that's fine. Just make them gay. Like it doesn't have to define their character.
Right.
Like they're gay, and like, hey, this person, loves this person, and then move along. Like it doesn't have to be like a focal point because like and it's like with Jesus in the comics, Jesus is gay, and like he's super gay. He loves men, but it is not what defines Jesus. Yeah. Jesus is a badass, and he's awesome, and he has great insight. He's a strategist, and he's a funny, good character. And it's like with Daryl, I remember when all that was coming about, and of course you have your people like, no, like it'd be the end of the world. I'm like, I'm fine if Daryl ends up gay as long as like that's not, we don't have to make it this big thing. If Daryl's just like, yeah, Rick, I'm gay. And then it's like, that's cool, brother. I love you. And then like he finds a partner and moves on. Like I'm fine with that as long as we don't make it some cringy.
Yeah.
It's 2022. I'm not saying that that people don't go through their struggles, but like most people, most, not all, but most people are like, oh, it's cool. You love who you love.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like 1990 where it'd have been like, oh my God, the struggles this guy would go through.
Exactly.
So it's like, but there was this big controversy at this point in The Walking Dead's history of like, is Daryl gay? And I remember my dad being like, that's so dumb. Like, his character doesn't need a love interest right now, whether it's a guy or a girl.
Why is that the only thing that makes him gay? Because I haven't picked up any gay vibes from him.
No, and it's like maybe some people just aren't. It's the apocalypse.
Right.
Everyone you meet's probably going to die pretty soon.
I thought you were going to say everyone you meet's probably gay.
It's like this. If you get bit, you either turn to a walker or you're gay.
Well.
But no, it's like my dad was like, who gives a shit? Like, I mean, who really cares? Yeah. Like at this point, it's like everybody he meets is probably going to die. Yep. So it's like, I'm not trying to get super attached or get in a relationship right now.
Smart.
So yeah, but just like back in the day, Walking Dead history.
But
like,
he's also clearly into Carol. I mean...
There's actually a guy I was watching that was doing like he was rating the seasons of The Walking Dead, like how good they were, and when he gets to like a certain season, he's like, and then there's Daryl and Carol that kind of want to fuck each other, but maybe they don't. It's like a brother-sister thing. Maybe they're just friends, but we all know they love each other. I don't freaking know. And it's like that's how we felt the whole time.
So it just never pans out.
Well, that could be next season. You don't, that could be this season. You don't know at what point in the show.
Well, I'm hoping it pans out because I needed to have the sexual attention. I can't even handle it. How do they handle it? I need y'all to get it on.
Like, just go ahead and freak for us.
Just for us, you know. They just got to cut this tension.
Well, and I think that, too, they both come from similar backgrounds. You like, Carol was the abused wife by, like, a complete douchebag, and Daryl comes from a family where they treated him like shit, like he was, you know. So they both have that background of being like neglected and abused. He talks about to Andrea in season 2 when they're, you know, going through the woods, talking about getting lost for days. Well, I don't know if it was days, but getting lost and no one even knew he was gone. You know, Merle was in juvie and his dad was out with somebody. And
I just want to hug. I just want to give little kid Daryl a hug. It's gonna be okay, Daryl.
And you might not know him. I won't say his name on the podcast, but there's a kid I rode the bus with in our town that I swear to God is the real life Daryl. Like, when the bus would drop him off, it was like legit out in the middle of nowhere. And I know, like, his brother's actually passed away. He passed away in a car wreck a while back. But, like, very similar.
I'm trying to put the puzzle pieces
I'm going to mute us and say it. I didn't know.
Who was his brother?
But no, he, you know, but he reminds me a lot of Daryl. Just like he kind of had the shaggy hair, and he was cool, but you could tell he probably. Then you get like the house wasn't the nicest. I mean, it wasn't like raggedy, but you just didn't seem like he had the childhood most of us on the bus had. But I always was, after watching The Walking Dead, I always thought about him, and I was like, yo, he would be Daryl Dixon. Because he was cool, but he also didn't take no shit. Like, he was nice to everybody, but he didn't take no shit from anybody.
Good for him. He found a good balance.
Right?
That's all you need.
That's the way I try to be. Like, I'm nice, but I'm also not going to put up with your shit. Anyway.
I am nice, and I will put up with way too much shit.
You put up with way too much shit.
I do, but hopefully I'll learn one of these days how to not do that.
Well, I think you're getting better at it.
I think so, too.
I mean, it's simple. You be nice to people who are nice to you. And, and F the people who are not. Like, if somebody shows you respect and is nice to you, then absolutely be a ray of sunshine to that person. But if somebody treats you like you're dirt, F them. They don't deserve the sunshine that you produce.
Oh.
But no, so we know that, you know, the Rick and the gang are ready to get Maggie and Glenn back.
Yes.
And they're headed to Woodbury.
Straight to the rescue. Dude, when it was just Maggie and the governor at the table and we thought that he was about to have his way with her.
Right.
Against her will. I thought Rick was going to bust up in there at that moment.
You get your hands off Maggie.
Yeah, I was like, yes, they're going to come right at the right moment. They're going to bust in there and save her. It didn't happen.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. But they are at Woodbury.
They're there.
Like, it's getting ready to go down. How do you think it's going to play out?
I think that they're going to see Andrea somehow and be like, and then I don't know.
Do you think that Andrea? All right, so let's say if Andrea sees them attacking Woodbury, would she jump to their aid, or is she too far converted?
Woodbury? I mean, like, you can't answer that. I guess they would have to. Yeah, because they got to sneak in there, right? And they're looking for Maggie and Glenn.
Your hair is so dope. It matches your pants.
Right?
It's so dope.
Thank you.
It's so dope. Like, I'm digging the hair. Like, you can't see Jessi, but right now she has like purplish lavender color hair, and she's got like lavender colored pants, and it matches. Like, I'm digging it. That's legit.
Oh, I love purple. Sometimes I overdo it, but you know what?
You've always like, well, rainbow. You remember one podcast, because believe it or not, this is not me and Jessi's first time podcasting together. We had a little podcasting show, but I remember one time I was like, what's your favorite color? Jessi's like, rainbow. And I was like, that don't count. Yeah. That's all the colors together.
Well, this is how I explained it. If you had a rainbow car, right?
Right.
It's rainbow. And somebody said, hey, what color is your car? You wouldn't say red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, whatever. You would say rainbow. So technically, I count it as a color.
Right. Okay. And I give you that now. I mean, God, that was like 8 years ago. So I've had time to grow and mature as an adult. And I give you that color.
Hey, my favorite color has been rainbow for a while, and I like to call that foreshadowing.
But like legit, I'm digging it. Like that's on point right there.
Thanks, guys.
But so what do you think would happen? Do you think Andrea would revert and be like, it's Rick and the gang?
I don't know.
F you, governor? Or do you think she'd be like, F you, Rick?
She would be on the governor's side, but Yeah, I don't know, because she doesn't know that Glenn and Maggie are there. So, fuck, I don't know. I hate, like, I don't know. I think Michonne's going to kill the governor.
Think so?
I think Michonne's going to kill the governor because she is just mad.
But then how do you think Andrea would react to Michonne killing the governor? She'd be pissed
because governor is her little piece of ass.
He's throwing her the D.
He is throwing her the D.
Throwing her that good governor D.
Keeping her fed and showered. And
do you think, like, every time this is getting graphic, I'm sorry if your kids are listening to it now. Do you think every time he pumps, she's like, oh, governor?
Governor?
Oh,
no,
governor.
I don't know. She probably faking it anyway.
Yeah, I don't see I don't see the governor as the kind of guy that's concerned about the woman getting hers.
No.
He's getting his, and if you didn't get yours in that time, tough luck. He's going to sleep.
Yep. Just like every other man I've ever
Don't even no. Don't even do that. There are some of us that put a lot of effort into that.
I know there are some of you, but I said every other man I've been with.
Okay, that you've been with. Well, you be dating chumps, so that makes sense.
That's true, and they really don't care.
But okay. There's some of us that put some effort in. But I see the governor as I'm gonna get mine. You better get yours quick, or it's game over, girl. And then he's off to sleep to do governor things.
Ew.
But she's getting that governor D. So you think she would just stay team governor?
I think so, because she wanted to leave them anyway before Shane died, and yeah, I don't know though. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, it's hard for me to think when I know.
I know. I really don't. I'm excited to see how this plays out, because I know Michonne, she's probably just out to get him.
Oh, yeah.
I think she's going to kill Merle. Is she going to kill Merle and then Daryl's going to be pissed? I don't know.
The tension that would create.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, I've said it 1,000 times, and I cannot fully express. Like, you are in the glory days, like this, in the next season or two. Like next season 2 or 3, you are in like the glory days of The Walking Dead, where even an episode like this, where not a ton happened, but it leaves open, like you can't wait to see what's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
Like even if it was a little slower, some shit's about to pop off next episode.
Mm-hmm.
So next episode, they're gonna they're gonna get in Woodbury, and some shit's gonna pop off.
I'm excited.
I'm excited for you to see how it plays out.
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Any more death predictions for season 3 before we wrap up?
I really think the governor's gonna die. And the baby.
Let me just tell you, and this is not a spoiler, but there is all right, so we're in currently, I don't know when you're listening to this. What's this exciting thing about the internet? You could be listening to this 5 years in the future.
Right?
But if you're listening to this currently, we're in 2022, and The Walking Dead is on its last episodes before the show ends. However, there are like 3 spinoff shows that are coming off with main characters that are going to keep it going.
It's never going to end.
You know what? I'm fine with that.
All right.
I'm fine with that. It gives me something to do on Sunday nights.
And I'm glad I didn't watch all of this before, because now, like, I have so much to catch up on.
You got so much wonderful Walking Dead ahead of you. But, there is a scene last night. So what they do is, I told you, they do breaks if you watch it like up to date. They'll do a few episodes, take a break, come back a few months later. And so last Sunday was the return of The Walking Dead. It had been off the air for like, I don't know, a while. And now it's back. And so at the very beginning, it's someone narrating, and they're like, explaining, how situations, some people chose to be good and try to, be, and it was like, and some let the dark, and I don't remember the exact wordage, but something like some cave to the dark side. Yeah. And it showed clips of like Shane and the governor and like past villains. And I got goosebumps thinking about it, because we're in season freaking 11, and it was showing clips of Shane from season 2 and the governor in season 3. And I'm like, yes, I love that you're getting back to where you came from.
Yeah, they had to.
Because I'm telling you, the way The Walking Dead is now is just so different the way it is now. Like now,
what do you
currently,
expect,
It evolves, but... So let's rate this episode. Let's put our hands where the other can't see them, and then let's raise it up. Wait a minute, let me see what I want to do. All right, I'm ready. You ready? Mm-hmm. Boom. You give it a 3. That's fair. I mean, this episode was a setup episode. It's setting up for something big. I give it a 4 because it's a setup. Because without this episode, we wouldn't have all the schnitt that's about to pop off next episode.
Okay, I trust it.
3 out of 4. 3 out of 5 ain't bad. So,
no, it's not. And it's not even that I didn't like it. I just didn't have any, like, moments, you know?
Right.
I did shed a tear, but I can't remember what part it was.
No, hold on. We gotta dissect this. Okay. A part of this episode made you shed a tear?
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
Maybe I'm just extra emotional for no reason.
It could be, but what made you shed a tear?
I've been taking my medicine, so
Was it with Glenn and Maggie?
No, it was like towards the beginning of it was like on the first half. I really don't remember.
Now let me ask you, do you think Rick is back?
What do you mean?
I mean, he's been kind of crazy the last episode.
No, I don't think he's all the way back. Otherwise, I don't think he would have been so mean to Michonne. I think he's getting there, but, you know, like you said, everything that happens, your experiences change you.
They do.
So.
And that is, again, I'm telling you, one of them. There's 2 beautiful speeches, and those veteran viewers who have seen the whole show will know what I'm talking about. But there's one where a certain character has a speech talking about how the people we know make us who we are. Like, even when they die, they still live because a part of them helped shape us to who we are. And so we carry that and we keep them alive. And then there's another character that has a speech with Rick that says, you know, something to the effect of, like, you know, everything has to end, but it's not the end of everything.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, God, I almost want that tattooed on me. Like, everything has to end, but it's not the end of everything.
That's a really good quote.
It is. Yeah. It is. And what's interesting enough, I won't say who, what, when, or where, but I will say the character who gave the first speech was supposed to give that other speech. So this character would have given both speeches. But this character just didn't want to come back and do anything with the show, so it was another character that ended up saying it. It's so cool for veteran viewers because they know exactly who I'm talking about. They're going to comment and be like, who are you talking about? But yeah, so that's awesome. So we will be back on Friday as we review episode 8, where Schnitt is about to pop off in the good old town of Woodbury.
Yeah.
Woodbury, Governor. We coming for you.
Governor.
Meanwhile, Andrea's in the background. Oh, Governor. Oh, Governor.
She's so stupid.
She is. She's so stupid. Andrea, again, not Lori Holden. Andrea.
Yes, the character.
The character. But we will see you on Friday as we review that. In the meantime, it's time to hop off out of here. I'm Justin.
I'm Jessi.
And we are the Podcasting Dead. We'll see you soon. Check out Movie Palette. Check them out. Movie Palette. MoviePalette.com. They support the channel. You should support them. Bye.